have some choices whenever you're picking the matches that you're going to put in your survival kit, and I think it is worthwhile to look at what those options are and the pros and cons for each. So we have a general survey here of what you might find available to you in your home or in a store, and we'll start with paper matches. Now, paper matches are delicate and rather sensitive to moisture, and they're cheap and you can buy them in quantity, but you would need to protect them and remember that in damp conditions they can sometimes be very, very difficult. You need to use the striker that's on the package, and sometimes they don't always work. I'm not promoting or saying anything against any company, but this is a very common match that I see in the store, and it says it's a waterproof safety match, but really these for the most part are just wooden matches that have the heads dipped in a lacquer, and you have to strike them on the particular striker that you've got on the box. And quite often, if the stem of the match, the wood part, gets damp, you'll get some sputtering and fizzling as the head ignites, but then the match itself won't light, and that can cause you some problems. Strike on the box matches are exactly what they say. You need the striker that's particular to that box for that match to work. And some people have taken and if they're going to use these matches, they'll cut the striker off of the box and glue it onto an emery board or a popsicle stick, and they'll put that in the survival kit with them so they have something that's stiff that they can strike against. But it does complicate things a bit, because if you don't have that particular striker with these matches, they don't work. Strike anywhere matches are not as easy to find these days, but you can find them, and you can tell them by the white sulfur tip that they have. And again, these matches are what they say, strike anywhere, so there is a striker on the box, but generally any rough surface that you find, you can use these. So if you were to find a rock that had a good rough grit, you can usually get those to work as the same as any striker you would have on a box, so that gives you a little bit more flexibility. Taking those strike anywhere matches and putting them into some kind of a waterproof container instead of the box itself is helpful, and in this case I have them just in an Army surplus match container, and on the inside of the cap I used some super glue to put a piece of sandpaper in there. Even though I could strike it on something else, if it was damp conditions and I really needed to get this match lit, it would give me a guaranteed dry place with a good grit on it that I could use to light the match. And then the last one I'll show you is something, and whenever I see something that says stormproof or waterproof or weatherproof, I'm always slightly suspicious and I want to test it. And through all of the testing I've done, this is one that I found that works rather well. It's sold by REI, the company REI is where I found them. 2 boxes come in a package, and they cost I think $6 when I purchased them. And some people might call these lifeboat matches, but I've tried lifeboat matches and these are a big improvement. But they come with extra strikers, so there's a striker on the box, but there's also these strikers that you can take and put into the kit. Or again, glue them to something that's stiff that would give you the ability to have a surface to strike. Once it's lit, I can take that match, dunk it in water, and it'll reignite. So that's a really good quality, and I would take that as stormproof. And of course, once the head burns and you get down here, now whenever I dunked it in the water, the stem got wet, so of course the flame went out whenever it got there. If the stem wasn't wet, then it would continue to burn. But that's enough time to get a tinder lit for sure, and it's pretty impressive. It's well worth the money. So whenever you go and decide on what matches you are going to put in your survival kit, it pays to take a few minutes and think about the goals that you have, what capabilities you have, and what you're willing to endure whenever you're getting a fire started.